Hi everyone. I want to show you how you can do a real quick and simple edit, such as removing a wire like this to make your photograph look better. I'm seeing a lot of people handing things in that have small distracting elements in them that take away from the quality of the photograph. And in Photoshop, it is so easy to fix something like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I just want to show you, when I'm in Photoshop, I always have my layers palette visible. Okay, because I always need to know what's going on in there, and I always have my properties palette visible. They're usually docked over here on the side, and I just like to have them out. Now, another thing I'm going to do, because I'm going to be making some permanent edits to this image. I'm going to actually be getting rid of pixels and replacing them with other pixels, and I always want to keep a pristine copy of my original image that hasn't been edited at all. This is not like when you're in Lightroom and you can just go back and change your settings at any time. Once you've used a paintbrush in Photoshop, those pixels have been replaced. Okay, so in order to always have something I can go back to in case I mess up or need the original for some other reason, I'm going to take the layer. You'll notice that when you open something up in Photoshop, you always see it as layer 1, and I'm just going to duplicate it. And the way to do that is you grab the layer, drag it to the little plus sign, let go, and there it is. Okay, so there's my layer 1 copy. That's what I'm going to work on, and this layer will remain untouched. The tool I'm going to use is called the Spot Healing Brush tool. So you have to come down. It's I believe the 8th little tool from the top in your toolbox, and you have to press this little button right here, this little triangle, and it'll create a flyout menu where you can see all the sub tools. They stack a bunch of tools together. So the Spot Healing Brush tool is so easy to use. It's a little brush. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's a little circle on my screen. Okay. And you can make the brush bigger or smaller by clicking on your keyboard. Look at the letter P, and next to it to the right there's 2 keys that have brackets on them. The left bracket makes your paintbrush smaller, and the right bracket makes your paintbrush bigger. And you want your brush to just be a tiny bit bigger than what you're painting out. You don't want it to be too small, or you can kind of mess it up. So I'll just make it a tiny bit smaller. That should be good. And all I'm going to do, it could not be easier. I'm just going to paint along this line, and it will be gone, just like magic. Okay, I'm going to get as close as I can to the pull. Okay, and I still have this little piece that's sticking out, and I do have a little bit of an issue here because my brush is round, and it's going to be real hard to get like a straight edge along that pull. So there's a couple of different things I tried on this one. I think I had the most luck with something called Content Aware Fill. What I'm going to do is create a selection using my Polygonal Lasso. Okay, and that lets me make a selection with straight edges. And selections are something that I want you guys to get comfortable with doing. Okay, so selections are awesome because they allow you to make edits to an isolated area of an image. So I've drawn this little box with the marching ants around it. Nothing can happen to it now. Nothing can, nothing can hurt the rest of the picture. Okay, I can do edits inside here, and everything else will be the same. Okay, so the first thing I was going to try was I was going to again use my Spot Healing Brush tool, and it will let me edit that out without messing up the telephone pole. Okay, and that looks pretty good. My only problem with that was you see there's a little kind of a glowing patch of white there that I'm not sure why it caused that, but I don't like it. So I'm going to hit Command Z to get rid of that. And I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try a content aware fill, and you find that under the edit menu. Come down to content aware fill, and if you look over here on the side, it gave me a preview of what it's going to look like. It still leaves like a little bump there, but just for you know, the purposes of demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and click it. It got rid of most of it, but you know, I'm still not completely happy because I have this little bump here. And so the last thing I'm going to try is I'm going to use my clone stamp tool. And that's this one that looks like a little rubber stamp here. And the way this tool works is it samples pixels from an area and then paints those pixels over top something else. And so you want to sample, you have to press your Option key, and you can see when I do that, the icon changes. Option, click. Okay, you can't see anything that's happened, but it knows now to paint from that little area that I sampled from. I want to sample close to the thing I'm painting over because the background is the most consistent. I'm just going to move my brush right over this little bump, and I'm going to paint along the edge of the selection right there, and it's gone. To get rid of my selection, Command D. Looks pretty good. I'm going to zoom out, and you can't even tell that I edited this picture. It's just too easy not to do. Okay, so I would like to see you guys start editing out with your spot healing brush tool anything you don't need.